in the fight, keeping you on track. Charity and healing, one step at a time. Big Grizz is here for you. Hear that mountain climb? It's the Big Grizz Show, where the strong find grace, lifting up the ones who fought the hardest race. With a laugh, a growl, and a mission so true, Big Grizz is here for you. Through the battlefields of life, he's got your back. A brother in the fight, keeping you on track. Charity and healing, one step at a time. Big Grizz leads the charge. Hear that mountain climb? It's the Big Grizz Show, where the warriors meet, finding hope and honor, taking back their seat. The Big Grizz Show, tune in and stay a while, healing hearts with that rugged country style. Oh, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Big Grizz Show. We got Josh Pruitt co-hosting with me until he's getting ready to get his show going. Can't wait for that. I want to say thank you to all you guys that have listened to the show over the last couple of weeks. We are doing amazing on audio listeners, and the views have been going nuts. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm glad you guys are all there. Even to all you haters, thank you for watching. It's fun. We have our guest today is Teresa Caron. I hope I said that last name right. And she was at January 6th. She, I don't believe, had anything that happened to like Josh or Rasha or Daniel that have been on. But we want to get her side of it. I know her personally. We go to the same church. We're part of the military group through our church. See her all the time. She's a great lady. So you guys welcome Teresa, and we're going to dive into what she had seen, why she was there.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Just peachy.
Hey, Teresa.
Hi, Josh. So nice to meet you.
Got
You
a
too.
lot going on. Today we went and did the walkthrough down at the Puyallup campus for the celebration of life next week for my dad, and so a lot of ups and down emotions. Plus, Josh knows about this. You didn't know. This morning I had Pippi or Harlow. She was out at the bus, and I was sitting there waiting because I had to turn around and leave to go meet my mom to go do the walkthrough. And she came up to me and she goes, "Jordan, Ashley's crying. She said her mom slapped her, and I don't know what to do." I'm like, "All right, well, this lives 2 houses down from us." So I went and talked to her, and I was like, "What's going on?" She's like, "My mom slapped me because I didn't know what I wanted to wear to school this morning." And then Teresa, she goes, "She hurts me all the time." And when she said that, her mom came out and literally grabbed her by the arm, right behind the arm, and got about a half inch from her nose, just like a drill sergeant would, and was screaming at this child, saying, "This is why you're going to a doctor, because there's something wrong in your head," and this and that. And there's like 10 kids on the street ready to go to the bus, and her mom is doing this in front of everybody. I was just like, oh. So anyway, long story short, I called the school and told the school what had gone on. And she goes, "We've been wondering about this. We know exactly who you're talking about." And she goes, "I'm going to turn this over to the counselor. They might get a hold of you." So about, I don't know, 20 minutes later, or 30 minutes later, whatever, the counselor calls me and she goes, "Would you be willing to talk to CPS?" I said, "Of course." The school had already called CPS. I don't know where it's going to go tonight after the kids get off the bus, but that was a very interesting morning. Very weird one.
Sounds like it.
Well, I mean, are they going to let her come home on the bus?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I was just asked by the counselor if I would talk to CPS if because they had already called CPS at it, if I would tell them what I had seen. I said, of course. I'm not going to.
If I would guess, she's probably not coming on that bus home today.
It depends on if CPS did their investigation yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, let's get into it with you, Teresa. So you were at the rally on January 6th, right?
Mm-hmm, I was.
So what made you want to go to this rally?
I was never planning on it. I don't go to like rallies, and it's just not my thing. But I had a friend that has been to many of them, and she called me a week prior and said, "Hey, I have a plane ticket for you, and I have a place to stay. You should come." And in my mind, I'm thinking, I love DC. Why not? I said, "Well, do we have an extra day to go sightsee?" And she's like, "Yep." And I'm like, "Okay, why not?" And I talked to my husband, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." He couldn't go; he had to work, but otherwise he would have been there as well. But yeah, that was my mindset.
So when you got the morning of January 6th, what was the atmosphere for you and all of that? We've had multiple ones. Everybody says everything was like peaceful and amazing and people singing and all of this stuff. What was it like for you being there?
It was really great until it wasn't. It was, and they're right. It was really peaceful. It was really great. The hordes of people that were just happy and walking down the street towards the rally. It's not really like anything I've ever seen before. And it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter what your belief system was. It didn't matter what color the skin was. Everybody was just happy. And the night before, we were all exchanging phone numbers and Facebook pages and just excited. It didn't matter. It literally didn't matter. So it was the most relaxing, I think, time I've ever had in a crowd, to be honest. It was just really awesome. And it was cold. It was really cold. I've been there when it's colder, but it was still cold. And at the rally itself, there had been, just me being kind of a little person in the middle of all of it. My perspective, there had to have been about 1 million people there. There was so many people.
Is that what you think, Josh? You think about that much?
Yeah, I think 1 million plus. It was a massive number. It was more than, I know she hasn't been to a bunch of rallies because she's not into it, but from prior rallies, yeah, it was 10 times.
Wow.
But 10 times and just as peaceful. If not more patriotic. So.
Wow, that's crazy. So were you at Trump's speech?
I was, yeah. I was there. Through all of it, we were probably there for about 5 hours total. And then, to be honest, we left because the porta potty lines were getting really long and we needed to go. So we just were like, okay, let's just go, because once it's over, it's going to be massive crowds, and let's just meet the crowd, beat them there. And we were debating on whether or not to go back to the hotel and use the restroom or to go to the Capitol, because everybody's like, we're hearing the scuttlebutt that everyone's going to the Capitol, and we're like, okay. And in my mind, just knowing what I know, just having my husband be former military and the things that he did, I just didn't figure we would ever be allowed on the lawn. I didn't think it would be that. I just, figured we would be able to go and just be there. And so that was never anything that even entered my mind that would be possible.
So obviously you left the rally and you went to the Capitol. Mm-hmm. Which I was mistaken. I thought it was the other way around.
It's okay.
I didn't think you went to the Capitol. You obviously never went into the Capitol, right?
No.
So you just were out in the yard or out to the side. So I know at one point you had told me you had seen something that caused you to call your husband to find out what was going on. Can you explain what you seen?
There were a few things going on. When it popped off, it was all at once, and it was before the speech was even done. So there were very few of us there. I would say maybe 1,000 people were there, if that. There was a small group of people at the bottom of the stairs that go up to the backside. There were porta potties. We were directed onto the lawn when we got there, which I thought I went up to the police officer and I said, "Are you sure we can go on the lawn?" And he goes, "Yeah, go ahead." And so, because the porta potties were all the way up front, If you see on the pictures or on the video where the people were climbing the wall in the news, that's where the porta potties were right there. And it was the only available place to go. And so we walked up there and we were standing in line with about 50 other people. And we had quite the view of everything. And there were a couple things. So there were some trailers there that didn't seem like they belonged. And there was a gentleman that walked out from behind it.
What do you mean they didn't seem like they belonged? From you not having a military background, what threw it off for you?
So usually, just being related to some of the people that have been in law enforcement and friends and family and stuff like that. Usually if there's something like this going on, they're not going to have places for people to be able to hide. Like they're not going to have storage, utility, anything on grounds. It's going to be completely open so they can see everything. So the video cameras can catch everything. And it just seemed really odd that, yeah, there's porta potties up by the Capitol, feet from it, the actual building. But then there's these two trailers, probably 15 feet from me. There was a utility driveway where they could come up, and do gardening or whatever. So the utility driveway right on the other side of that, we were on one side, and these trailers unhitched were on the other side. And so I thought that was a little odd. So I took a picture of them and just sent them to my husband and just made comments, this is kind of odd. And he goes, yeah, it does seem kind of odd or whatever, just conversation like that. And then I saw this guy walk out from behind it, and he had a military / Capitol Police looking uniform, but it was wrinkled and he was not put together very well. And he had an earpiece, but it wasn't in his ear. And it just didn't feel right and didn't look right, didn't look put together. And so that's when I called my husband and said, hey, this guy looks really sketchy and looks kind of weird. I don't know. I kind of have a weird feeling and stuff. And he's like, well, is there anything else going on? And at the time I was like, no. Well, then that's when all of everything started popping off. It's when the rubber bullets started going and you heard explosions and all this is happening, and they're shooting into the guys that were at the bottom of the stairs. And I wanted to say we could hear conversations between the three. There were only 3 guards on that first landing of the stairs. So the way the stairs go, if you haven't been there, is they go up, there's a landing, and then they go up again to like the little patio area up there. And then there was construction going on the opposite side of where we were. On the
That's
other
all
side.
The scaffolding you were talking about, Josh? Okay.
Yeah, that's where I climbed up, that scaffolding.
Okay, yeah. So that was all there. And there was a blind spot at the landing. There was a blind spot where you couldn't, you could tell the landing kind of went across and the scaffolding and the plastic was covering that other spot. There were 3 guards there, and I could hear the gentlemen that were standing at the bottom of the stairs. Somebody asked him, what do you need? And the guy said, we need everyone off the stairs. And so they said, no problem, we got you. So all I heard was the gentleman at the bottom of the stairs, the group of them, trying to be helpful to make sure to keep peace. And that's what I heard. And then all of a sudden, while I'm on the phone with my husband talking about these trailers, then we started hearing the pop off and the rubber bullets started going. And the guy is standing by the trailer acting like he's in charge and he knows something. And somebody ran up to him and said, my friend's daddy's dying. My friend's daddy's dying. And the guy just stood there. Didn't look at him, didn't say anything, just staring forward.
So was this the guy that you said had a wrinkled uniform and just didn't look put together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So somebody ran up to him and asked for help. And then he says, the guy in the not put together guy says, well, there's too many people here. They can't get up the road. And so my friend and I started yelling for everyone to get off because we were all in line for the porta potty. And we started yelling for everyone to get off of that utility road and to be on the grass so that the emergency truck could come. And then that guy ran off to go be with his friends. And 15 minutes later, and there's nobody. Like there's nothing. No emergency vehicle, nothing came. I didn't see that guy call for any help, nothing like that. So then then by this time, a second guy comes walking out from behind the trailer that I didn't know was there. And so they're both standing there and they're just talking to each other. And somebody else runs up. I don't remember if it was the same guy or a different one, runs up and starts cussing these guys out and is freaking out because his friend is dead and dying and all of the same kind of panic yelling.
Wow.
And so then the next thing we know, there's somebody had, I assume from where the scaffolding was, taken a board and laid their friend on the board, and 6 guys were holding the friend up in the air, and we now know it was a nurse that was straddling him and doing CPR. But when he went past us, we could tell he was dead. We all broke down crying. He was dead. He was already gone. I could see his shirt was open because she was doing compressions, and you could see this huge bruise, this purple mark on the side of him. So my assumption was he may have gotten hit by a rubber bullet, and which we now know he died of a heart attack. So don't know, or that's what I heard anyway.
Wow.
So that, and then right around that time is when people started coming from the rally, and I heard some of the guys in the crowd at the bottom of the stairs say, "Oh my God, look at that!" And I turned and looked, and it just looked like massive people were coming, like just you could not see the end of them were coming down. So that million people were walking down the road.
Yeah.
And now all of the pop off has stopped because now all of the massive amounts of people are coming, and not just the 1,000 of us. Now there's hundreds of thousands of people coming.
So you were down at the Capitol before people from the rally made it down to the Capitol?
Yeah.
So you were at like the very back of the rally when Trump was talking then?
Oh, we were midway, wherever we weren't up front. No.
Okay.
No.
So you were right there and seeing all the fun stuff.
Hey, Teresa, so when you walked down Pennsylvania Avenue, did you notice when you got down by the Capitol, there was like a bunch of food trucks there too?
Yeah. Yeah. There were food trucks, there were police. We saw a lot of National Guard around the town, but I didn't see them there. So I thought that was interesting. And then there were barriers, but they weren't blocking the lawn. They were open and allowing people to go to the stairs. And so I just thought that was really strange.
We kind of did the same thing you did. I mean, we were down there in the crowd. We were midway through. You couldn't move. And like, honestly, you couldn't even hear but so much. So we ended up walking towards the Capitol, and we went to where the food trucks were because apparently there were porta potties there as well. And we went over there and got food and went to the restroom. Then we walked on the ground just like you. So, I mean, that's also something you wouldn't think that they would have set up down there if they're planning for this. I mean, it was literally set up for us to be there.
Yeah. And there were also, I was really surprised because there were portable lifts. So like portable platforms for everybody to go so that they could see. Because the rumor was, I don't know if you heard the same thing, Josh, but the rumor is that once they were done gathering and voting on whether or not to do the recount, they were going to come out and announce to everybody and let us know.
Right.
And so it was set up for them to do that.
Yeah. We heard the same thing, and that's also why we left early to get front stage of that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a huge part of our history, right? To be able to be a part of that and just kind of see it all, no matter what the outcome was, to be there for it. Yeah.
So back to this guy you had seen. Did you, when you seen him and you figured he didn't look put together or nothing, did you like follow what he was doing? Did he walk over to the crowd and try to incite something, or did he just walk somewhere and just stand there?
Just stood there.
Yeah, see, that's weird. That's weird to me. That's super weird. It's
really weird. Well, and what's really strange is that he didn't start walking off until this certain point. Like both of them left at the same time once. So the crowd of everybody is coming, and then something else happened too. So the crowd of everybody was coming. The one guy said, "Look at all of this. This is amazing," or and see everybody coming and everybody's turning and looking. Well, the police officers that were on the landing had told them to keep everybody off the stairs, right? Well, there was one guy that he couldn't see, I'm assuming, because all of a sudden he stood up on the first stair and turned to see over the heads of everybody that was right there. And a couple of the officers that were on the landing came down and grabbed him and pulled him up and started beating him until he was unconscious. And
What?
yeah. And we're screaming for him to stop. The friends at the bottom are screaming for him to stop, but nobody's running up because they knew that they were not supposed to be on the stairs, but they're still yelling to try and get them to stop. Then when this guy is, you could see from where I was, I wasn't far. He's bloody and unconscious. And then the officer took his foot and pushed him down the stairs unconscious. And he got like 2/3 of the way down. And the guys at the bottom of the stairs were like, can we get him? Can we get him? And they're like, yeah, get him. And so then they came up and pulled him the rest of the way. And I saw him, they came out where we were too. And he was messed up. So they were like carrying him out.
So that was a Capitol police officer that did that to him?
Whoever they were in all black.
What do you think on that one, Josh? I think I seen the video of something along those lines. Do you remember seeing, or were we already in the Capitol?
If the Capitol had been breached, sure, I was already in there. But like, I hear that, and I mean, what I noticed about the Capitol Police that day was that, like, you could tell some of them they knew exactly what was happening, and then some of them were completely confused with what was happening. Now, also to my recollection, I did see people changing over from black clothing to Trump gear. So, I mean, I don't know what to think of that. I mean, they might have not even been Capitol Police. Who knows?
I don't know. I can tell you what it sounds like to me, and it really sounds like so you guys know us in the military. When we went into Baghdad, well, actually anywhere over there, if there was a crowd of people, and let's just say we were taking shots, you could see them, the people doing it, and they were in some sort of a uniform. That we would be able to tell whether a lot of them had certain turbans on or whatever, and we just knew. But what they would do at that is they would drop whatever they were doing, take their robe off, put a different color, and they'd disappear. You wouldn't even know who they were. So that's kind of by you saying that, sounds like that to me, that was instigators. And I can promise you, anybody that's been deployed that had witnessed this is going to feel the same way. It sounds like they were paid instigators that went in, started something, and then right away changed, and then you wouldn't be able to tell who they were. I mean, that many people, you put Trump gear on, you go into a crowd of people that got Trump gear on, you're not going to find that person again.
You're definitely not.
That's what that sounds like and feels like to me. And that's insane to think that our own people would do that against us. Yeah. Whether, other non-political people that are just instigating stuff, knowing that this is other Americans standing there. How could you do that and be okay with that? That's the thing that I don't understand.
I mean, they were probably compensated.
I mean, that's a lot of money, because I would feel horrible if I went in and started picking fights and started doing stuff and then turn into somebody that was like, I mean, that'd be like me going to Seattle when all the CHOP stuff was going on and dress like some homeless dude and get in and infiltrate stuff. I wouldn't be able to do that to another American, even though they don't agree with me. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, but there's groups on the other side that honestly would probably do it for free, just to be part of the narrative. Man. And that's sad, but it's true.
So, Teresa, after you seen this guy get kicked down the stairs and got the holy crap beat out of him by an entity nobody can actually say who it was, what happened after that?
So the crowd was starting to approach, and there were certain people that were running onto the grounds, and they ran in between the gentlemen that were at the bottom of the stairs and us. They ran in between us and started climbing that wall. And so they're climbing the wall, and I just can't even believe what I'm seeing. And I'm like, holy cow, this is coming down. Because by this time, my husband and I have hung up, and I've now called him back. And I'm like, people are climbing the walls. And then while I'm on the phone with them, I start hearing like a cadence of boots, just boom, 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 boom. And up walks who I assume is SWAT. They have full gear on, and I'm thinking they're going to pull those people off the wall. And I tell my friends, I'm like, we got to get out of here. And because something's going to go down. And they're walking, they're walking up in order, and they turn towards us. And they don't even acknowledge the people on the wall. And I'm standing there because we're still in line to use porta potty because it's such a long line. And I'm literally like, we are just here to use the bathroom. We are just here. And I'm like, and they are completely stoic, not even acknowledging. And I look at my friends, I'm like, we have to go now. And now, mind you, by this time, the little crowd that's at the bottom of the stairs, there's tear gas everywhere. And so we, there are some people that we know that were on the other side. And so we're trying to find them because we're trying to get out of there. And we're trying to make sure our people are getting out. And so we're making phone calls. And I'm like, we just got to go now. And so we take off towards, away from where those trailers were and the wall where everyone's climbing up, and where whoever's fully dressed in uniform, SWAT, or whoever's coming up and looking at us, we're taking off this way. And we end up kind of, because the crowd's coming in and you have to go and stop and go and stop. So we end up stopping, and I realized we're right behind the people that are at the bottom of the stairs. And I turned around, and it's probably 6 or 7 stairs down, but it's all marble, right? It's hard. And that black railing that is more there to help you walk up the stairs, it is kind of twisted and stuff, because I never saw a weapon. I never saw anybody being armed. And so in my mind, I'm thinking people that were getting rubber bullets shot at them, they're trying to see if they can get this out so that they can defend themselves, was my assumption. So, so this thought is going through my head right now. And I looked at my friends and I said, listen, we have to go now. We can't stay here. Look behind us. That's the stairs. This is the crowd of people. If they get shot at again and start running, we're dead. We're dead. We're just going to fly down these stairs. We need to go this way. So then we go back the other way, but down the stairs and across, and there's a half wall there. By this time, mind you, everybody walking up has no clue that any of this is taking place at all. Not a clue. So we're going this way, and the crowd is coming in, and we're starting to get closed in. And now people are standing along the half wall. And so we're not sure how to get out of there. And so I grabbed the ankle of this kid that's standing on the wall, and I said, help us over now. I'm like screaming at him, help us over now. And so he gets down on the other side, and he starts helping us climb over the wall, because it's kind of tall and we're short. And so we get over, and we start going away from the building on that side of the lawn. Porta potties are now behind us. We're on the same grass as them, and we're going away towards the road. Yeah. And there's this massive amount of people passing us. We saw weapons from them, and there were people. I saw like clubs and things that they were holding. And
so you just said they were their people. What people are you talking about?
There were people, not their people. Yeah,
okay.
No, I don't know who they were from or who they were with or whatever. And I don't remember what they were wearing or anything like that. I just remember thinking, we have to get safe. We're not safe. And so we got down a little bit to where the wall was a little shorter, further down on the stairs, and where the 2 risers were, there was some space in between. And so I grabbed my friends and said, we're going back over the wall, and we're getting in between them, because if something happens and everybody starts running, we're not going to get trampled. We're going to go in between the things. And so I had to get them to safety until we could regroup and figure out how to get out, because we couldn't get out because there was a million people coming in. So we were stuck. So wherever we were stuck, we just needed to be safe. So.
Wow. So you hid between 2 walls.
Basically, yeah. Between the 2 risers that were brought in, the portable risers.
So what was your first instinct? So after, all the shootings that have been taking place over the last 8 years or whatever it is, what was your first instinct when you heard those tear gas grenades go off and the rubber bullets being shot?
Fear. I mean, I was afraid, and I knew that none of us that were there in that moment were doing anything. And we were, not us personally, but part of the crowd was being fired on and they weren't doing anything. So if they're going to fire on them, they're going to fire on us. And
Wow.
we're literally just standing there to go to the bathroom. I mean, like, we're just there. So it was fear. They were going to hurt us.
Wow. Josh, same question for you. When you first heard all that, what ran through your head the first time when you heard the shots and the tear gas?
I mean, like she's kind of saying, like, we were just kind of getting attacked, and there was no real rhyme or reason for what they were doing. It was just antagonizing more or less than anything else. And it's the same thing that happened inside the building. Like, I mean, we had kind of a standoff area in there that was the same as they had on the outside. And the Trump supporters or patriots, we were peaceful. And then all of a sudden they just started gassing us and throwing flashbangs, and, they escalated it. It sounds like that's kind of like what's been happening the whole time, like all over the Capitol. So,
yeah. So you're the fourth person that we've had on, Josh being the very first one, that has had a different recollection and different things. Like, you're the first. This is the first time I've heard of these trailers and these people that were dressed like cops, but you can't really tell if they were. This is the first time I had heard this, even not from Rasha, not from you or Daniel. So it's I like seeing the different perspectives. Now, like, next week, you're really gonna like this one. We have the attorney for the J6ers going to be on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So he actually just emailed me the time and everything. So it's a good person for you to talk to, Josh, if you need anything.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I don't know who he is. I was reached out to talk to him about this. I think through Dan and Christina and all that. I think that's one of the emails I got from them was to go with them to get this guy on. So it'd be very interesting on that aspect. So, Teresa, how long can you estimate that you were hiding between these two walls with your friends before you were able to get away?
It was a couple hours.
Oh, wow.
It was a long time. Yeah. There were so many people coming up.
Wow. Were you the only ones in there that were able to find this hiding spot to try and stay somewhat safe?
There were a few other people that as we saw them trying to leave, we would grab them and pull them in. But most people were just trying to leave and like just hiding. We saw people hiding behind the half wall. We saw people, they ducked behind. Some people went underneath the rise, and then it would, and it was kind of squeaky because there was a lot of people on top of it. And so then they would try to, it was like walking your back against a wall and just trying to go the opposite of all of the crowd. And
so do you think where you were hiding, because I know there was some sort of video of a tunnel where there was people trying to get into the Capitol through? Not a tunnel, maybe not a tunnel, but some sort of arches, an archway or something. I remember seeing the video, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I never saw that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
I think that is actually, I've seen that in person before, but not that day. I think it's on the other side.
Okay. I can't believe you had to hang out there for a couple hours to feel safe enough to leave. It
was awful. And sometime during that time too, towards the end, we were really worried too, because then there was the all of our phones blew up where we all had to be in by a certain time, or we would automatically be arrested.
And I went through the same thing as you when I tried to leave too. I tried to go back out through the front door I walked in through, and it was so bottlenecked. I ended up crawling out of a window to get out of the building. Where I walked in through an open front door, I crawled out of a window to get out because it was just so crazy. And and it took me probably a good 45 minutes to get 100 feet just to get off the grounds.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were obviously, were you in a spot, Teresa, that you were able to hear what was going on, and could you hear anything, or?
Not really. I mean, we could see things. We saw So there were two different groups of people that were carrying the most ginormous American flag I've ever seen in my life. So there were a ton of people underneath, and I mean, they were walking. We were told by, like, we're all on phones with our people trying, people that we'd met at the hotel, like I said, we all exchanged phone numbers and stuff. And so we're texting people that we now have phone numbers. Are you okay? Are you safe? Don't go in because I'm we're getting texts from people saying, hey, they're letting everybody in. And I'm like, don't go in the building. They're in session. I just didn't feel right about the invite. I'm saying invite. I didn't feel right about it at all. So anybody that I had heard, people are talking, they're like, hey, my friend's saying they're letting them in the building. I'm like, tell them not to go in the building. And I don't know whether or not that person did or not, but it just didn't feel right. None of it felt right to me. I was also very afraid because it was peaceful until it wasn't.
And you were there right when it popped off. I mean, you were even down at the Capitol before it popped off.
Yeah.
And you seen it from the start to finish. Where Josh, when I think you got down there, they had already breached into it, didn't they? Had already got or were already going into the Capitol. I'm not gonna say breach.
No, I was only 30 seconds behind Bazzola going in through I guess he broke a window. I didn't see it. I went in through the door on the side. So, I was one of the first, but I think that Teresa probably beat me down to the Capitol grounds because when I definitely got down there, it was kind of already chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah, there was nothing going on when I got there. I would have never gone on the grounds if I had seen anything going on.
Yeah. No, I can say that. I know her personally. I don't think she's got a very mean anything in her.
I'll defend myself, but
well, that's different.
Yeah.
Mr. Salty. But I couldn't even imagine being there and seeing it all pop off like that. I don't even know. I mean, what was going through your head? I mean, besides trying to get you and your friends safe, it's like
that was the only thing, just to get us safe. We needed to be safe.
Did you guys beat the curfew?
Yes.
Okay.
By a little bit. We were finally able. We were really afraid walking back to the hotel too, because rumor had it that some groups from Antifa were hiding in the alleys. So we were really scared.
Where'd you guys end up staying at? We were at the Hamilton.
I don't remember, honestly. Big white building. I don't remember. It was near where the pipe bomb that went off later that night. We were on the other side of the alley from that.
Okay.
Yeah, hold up. There was a pipe bomb that went off?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember hearing anything about that.
Yeah, it went off in an alley in between a couple of the hotels. And I only knew, we didn't hear the pipe bomb. We only knew because some police officers came to the front door when we were eating. And because everybody was just sitting around eating, because, it was COVID time. And so they just had a lunch cart, basically, and you had box lunches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so we were just sitting around the top in the lobby, and just everybody was sitting around eating out of their box lunch. And then all of a sudden, some, I assume, police officers ran through the front door with automatic weapons and were yelling for everybody to...
At your hotel?
At our hotel, yeah.
What were they running in there for?
Because they thought that they were running through to go to the back door, because whoever had set off the bomb or whatever they thought was in the alley behind.
Dang. So
I have a hard time believing anything the cops said, especially even with the pipe bomb thing, because when I was in the building and Ashley got hit on the other side, you could hear the gunshot.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that they did on their radios was lie and say that one of us shot somebody. So that was what they said on their own radio.
Mm-hmm.
And they were telling us we needed to leave because one of the patriots or rioters shot somebody. So, like, I don't know. I have a hard time believing anything they say.
Yeah, and I noticed right away, within an hour, the story changed on the news, and we were there. It was once we got to the hotel, in the beginning, there was a lot of truth to what they were saying, the local news, and then within an hour, the narrative changed.
Yeah.
Seriously, it changed that fast.
Yeah.
It definitely did.
Yeah.
Wow. So they changed it to make you guys look like you were bad people.
Whoever. Yeah.
Well, not
It was
YouTube specific, but
it was mainly the news that I was seeing that was mainly about her getting shot and how that went down. And there was a gentleman that was a reporter that was in there, and they had interviewed him, and he was saying how it went down, the truth, from what I could tell. And then all of a sudden, his interview was no longer on there.
Do you remember that reporter?
I remember him. I don't know his name though.
Okay.
Why?
Well, I mean, one of the reporters that I've done for my TV news, he was there and he was in the building. And he's very much on our side. They never indicted him or anything. I've done 2 documentaries with him so far, but he was definitely on our side as far as not being biased.
Man, here the more and more stories that are coming out. I mean, we're having on here. It's just blowing my mind trying to put all these pieces together in my head on how this went down, and it's just it bugs me because they had the narrative for all the Antifa and all the stupid riots in 2019. Like they were trying to say how they were good riots and this and that when they literally destroyed cities. Mm-hmm. And then you guys, or the J6ers, on that day were having a peaceful protest until they started instigating stuff with you. It blows my mind. It really blows my mind at how people can think you guys, the J6ers, were wrong in any sort of aspect on any of this.
Well, I mean, my biggest thing is, like, if you look at Teresa, she looks like a probably everyday American patriot. I get it. I look like some kind of thug. But, like, to come at people like her, I mean, that bothers me even more. You know, I mean, that's part of why I was involved with the Proud Boys, is protect people like her.
Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah, that's why I am. I mean, you got a tattoo on a certain hand that I'm a part of. I just don't claim the tag. So... Yeah, I just ain't doing that. I know you know where I'm going with that one.
I do,
and I still am in the Signal or in the Telegram and all that with them. But it's mainly when in 2020 when all that happened. Like, I mean, Teresa will know. I ran. There's an FFL here in Bonnie Lake called Pistol Annie's, and I ran security for her with a bunch of people because it was like an armory in the middle of our town. It's like this thing going anywhere. And we're lucky enough, nobody came after us for doing that. I don't see any difference from doing that to what anybody did on January 6th. Now, the only difference I could say is if somebody actually antagonized the Capitol Police or somebody else to do something to them. I can understand then, but for the most part, it seems like everything was extremely peaceful.
On my side, it was. Until it wasn't.
Yeah. I think that it mostly was peaceful, but what I do think is, like, even the situations where you did have maybe assault on a police officer charges, that those were slightly antagonized as well. You know, I know of one guy that got 10 years, and he was a New York City police officer for 25 years, and apparently a cop hit him in the face, and he pushed him back with a flagpole, so they charged him with assault on a police officer. And at sentencing, they said, you should have known better. We're going to make an example out of you, and gave him 10 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, in the scheme of things, even the people that might have even did a little much, their charges were trumped up so much, you know, they try to make them do decades in prison.
Wow. I don't know. I'm glad, Teresa. I'm glad you didn't go into the Capitol, because you'd be going through what Josh is going through right now, and he's gone through hell in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, his story. You have to go back and listen to the show. I mean, it's insane hearing your guys' stories and then knowing what had happened to you guys. I was like last week with Rasha on. I mean, she was literally arrested in front of her 3 babies and taken away and forced to take a plea deal. She said she was forced to take a plea deal so she could be back with her kids.
That's what they did.
I mean, it blows my mind just hearing the different things. And I can't wait to get more of the J6ers on to get more of the different sides of the stories. I can't wait. Teresa, do you regret being there?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm glad that I was there in the aspects of before all that went down. I honestly had never felt more American than having all walks of life just simply coming together and being happy. Like, I just honestly didn't. And that surprised me. That really surprised me because, like I said in the beginning, I'm not a rally goer. I don't know that I will ever go to another rally, to be honest. I think I learned my lesson because I was just there for the sights and, just for fun. But everyone's everywhere and everything happens for a reason. And if my reason was so that I could be a witness of somebody that wasn't part of any protest, I wasn't there under any other pretenses. This is just what I saw. If that's what is needed, then it is what it is.
It hurts. And you were just doing something thinking you just wanted to see something and be a part of something, and then to get treated like this and to see and to witness this is, I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't think I can ever understand how this could have happened.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, it's just too, unless people are trying to make a market history. I don't understand. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, in every group, there's nefarious people, right? So there could have been people there that were extreme, and that could have started some things. I'm not saying that they could or couldn't have, and I'm not saying they did or they didn't, because I wouldn't know. There's a million people there. I can't see everybody. But, all I know is what I saw, and I saw innocent people getting fired on. I saw an innocent man get hit. I didn't see him get hit, but I saw the bruise.
You think that was a rubber bullet?
Yeah,
they say they're non-lethal rounds. They're wrong. It depends on where you hit somebody. You can hit somebody right here, you're gonna kill them.
They weren't very far away. They were literally shooting into the crowd of people. It wasn't over their heads. It was into the crowd to try and disperse them. But it was, what was it, like maybe 100, 150 guys at the bottom? It wasn't very many. And they were protecting the stairs. There was no railing on the stairs. And that was why they were like, what do you need? Saying up to the officers that were on the landing, what do you need? We need people off the stairs. Don't worry about it. We got it. So to fire on the people that were sticking up for you and helping you. And my very first thought when I got on grounds, I'm like, there are not enough police officers here for the amount of people that are here.
But yet, a certain Skeletor's wife was told she could have 10,000 freaking National Guard people there, but she didn't. She turned it down. Now, if they were that worried about something like this is what makes me think that it's a giant conspiracy theory with them, that they were trying to start something to make Trump look bad, is because the opportunity was there and they said no, knowing there was going to be that amount of people. I promise you, I would assume in myself, if it was vice versa, Trump would have had National Guard there.
He did want it to, but there had to be two. It had to be him plus them to authorize it, or he would come off as a dictator and then that would have been its own problem.
Well, yeah, no, he's come out and said that he offered 10,000 National Guard troops
Yeah.
to the Capitol building on that day. The day before the rally even happened, that it was authorized, and Pelosi turned him down, said no.
There were National Guard there on the streets, but they weren't at the Capitol. We saw them the day before.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, from what I understand is he was authorizing them to be on the Capitol. I could be 100% wrong on that. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, with as peaceful as everybody was, they wouldn't even needed 10,000. They could have had 500, and that would have been enough to contain the situation. I mean, mainly because the Capitol Guard would have been there for the right reasons, or the National Guard, because the Capitol Police, I mean, not for nothing. I mean, I believe they were in on it. I mean, at least some of them.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that one after hearing your guys' stories. And honestly, Teresa, you talking about that dude today, that really kind of opened my eyes to that. It was definitely planned, and people were doing something to get you guys riled, to get the J6ers or the rally riled up to make Trump look bad. That's how I feel now.
Well, the thing that got me is them saying, the news saying that Trump ordered it at the end, that he instigated it, that he said something at the end of his speech. But all of that popped off before his speech was done.
Yeah.
So that's what got me. I wasn't there.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Even talking to you guys, I don't think I realized it. So nothing was going on at the Capitol, or what happened at the Capitol started before Trump was even done talking?
Yes.
The Capitol was breached before he finished.
So they can't use what he said as anything. That's complete crap.
I mean, I technically was in the building before he finished his speech.
Wow, because I think right at the end of his speech, what they're saying is where he says we need to keep fighting, not go attack the Capitol.
Okay. And what he also said is, please go down to the Capitol and peacefully protest.
Yeah.
And like the whole fight thing, I mean, we've been hearing that from Democrats for years.
We're hearing it now.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, they're doing it now. So, I mean, it's crazy.
Wow. I did not realize the Capitol popped off before his speech was done. And that's what they're like, to me, that seems to be what they've been hanging on for a long time on this is, he said he incited it. And then they went on. Did not realize it started before.
Yeah. We had one. I'm sorry, Josh.
No, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, one of us, we had our phone on what was going on inside the Capitol building to watch it. And everybody's, kind of watching the phones while we're standing there waiting. And then another phone would have the speech going. So both were simultaneous. He's still speaking while they're still in session.
Yeah.
And then all this happened while both of those were still going on.
Hey, Teresa, did you lose service on your phone, or did that only happen inside the Capitol? Because I've heard of a lot of people that everybody's saying they lost service.
Everybody
I don't know if that was
the Capitol has said that so far.
I don't recall losing service because we were still talking to people that texting back and forth, and my call to my husband did keep dropping, so he was freaking out.
Okay.
So he kept calling me back because the call kept dropping, but I didn't lose service.
And I mean, that could have even been just because so many people were trying to use their phones at the same time.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to be a conspiracy theory about anything, but apparently every time they just come true, and we're no longer conspiracy theorists. So
trust me, I would not be surprised if the Capitol building, White House, Lincoln Memorial, all of those had cell phone jammers in them. It would not surprise me. And then you can have it to where you have a specific phone for that area that it wouldn't affect. So if they all had phones in there, those wouldn't get affected, but anything outside would be affected. That would not. I mean, come on, they would blow stuff up in Iraq with cell phones, and we rolled around with cell phone jammers on our Humvees to jam the IED. Okay. So that is a real thing, and I do believe that, because the amount of foreign people they have come in there, they don't want them picking up anything. So jam their cell phone. They don't have, I could see that. Do I know that's true? No, but I could see it.
I think it's necessary in places like that to try and stop that from happening. But yeah. That's wow. But that's not why I would assume, because of the people that I saw and my own intentions, which were not nefarious, I would assume that people were not there for that.
Right.
I would say there's probably like 95% of people that were there that went there. They weren't nefarious in any actions. They were agitated and they were made to be that way. I don't think anybody went that way to try something. I just can't see that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do.
It was the left.
Look, again, like she said, there was 1 million people at the Trump speech, and like, so 1,500 of us got charged, a few more, and that's a large number. So every single one of those people is not going to be a solid person. I mean, it is what it is, So that to judge like the mass majority on a few, I mean, that's not really fair in any situation.
It's not. That's why we've been doing this. This is 4th week now. I say at least 99% of the people were true patriots, and there was a percent that wanted to start something.
Yeah.
And I've told Josh, I could totally understand somebody being arrested and put in prison for doing something they weren't supposed to. I can understand that. But you watch the video of Josh, the most you did is you threw a sign because you got pepper sprayed, right? You see Chuck Schumer, you didn't do anything to him. You didn't do nothing to nobody else. You got sprayed, you threw a sign. I mean, that's not damage in any sort of way. I mean, that can't be considered nefarious, in my opinion. That's a reaction.
I mean, like one of my charges was violent acts inside of a federal building, and I mean, I don't even know what that means. But yeah, I mean, they definitely overcharged a bunch of us. Teresa, what did you end up getting charged with?
I didn't get charged with anything.
Oh, God bless you.
She was just there, and we had talked. This is probably why I wanted to get her on here, because she was there and seen it.
Yeah,
she's on the outside because she didn't get hit with nothing, but she also didn't go in the Capitol.
No.
So I don't, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that didn't go into the Capitol that got charged with something. I mean, the lady we had on last week, Rasha, she was literally in the Capitol for 55 seconds, took a selfie, and left.
I mean, there were definitely people on the grounds that got charged.
Or probation.
Yeah.
That just...
I mean, Enrique wasn't even there, and he got charged.
Oh, really? Yeah, Enrique's the president.
Enrique's the Proud Boy leader. He wasn't even there. He was out of the city.
How did he get charged? How did he get charged with anything then?
He got charged with seditious conspiracy because he was leader of the Proud Boys, and we were all talking on Telegram. But our Telegram conversations were nothing other than, hey, let's go peacefully protest. And that was the extent of it. And they just, they hit him over the head.
Wow. Yeah, it just more and more keeps coming up. This is why I'm so excited about these shows, is to get this stuff out. Actually, next week. So for those of you, we're almost done here. For those of you that haven't heard, now that you're in here, next week, we will have an attorney that has been an attorney for a few of the J6ers. I don't know how many, but he's going to get on. He wants to get on and talk about what the corrupt government was trying to do to these people. I cannot wait for next week. It's going to be something else. That might actually be a longer than an hour show, because
I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, that one's going to be very interesting. So on that note, you guys, Teresa, thank you so much for being here. Josh, as always, I'm glad you're here. We need to get your show going. He's getting his hosting feet wet.
Yeah,
learning how to do the podcast stuff, which is amazing, because he's going to have his own show, and I can't wait. I can't wait for his book, because he's having a book wrote right now. I can't wait for that one. But you guys, on that note, Teresa, thank you so much, and hey, probably see you Sunday and Monday. Well, Monday for sure.
Right on.
But you guys, you're watching Big Grizz Show, and thank you for tuning in and watching. Teresa was at the January 6th rally, and she just walked us through a whole scenario that is really kind of blowing my mind, because nothing actually happened to her, but what she had to go through, you wouldn't want to see anybody go through that. I mean, hiding for 2 hours, trying not to get in trouble because you couldn't get away. I mean, it's too much. You have to go back and watch the show if you didn't see that part. But you guys definitely tune in next week. We're gonna have a killer guest on, and a lot of information for a lot of the J6ers that are having issues. You're gonna want to tune into the show. Until then, till we see you next week. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for all the haters. I know you're out there, and Dan told me to definitely tell him thank you on all the voice apps and everything. Thank you guys for hating on me so much. You're only making me more popular. Love it. You guys have a wonderful day. God bless, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you everybody for tuning into the Big Grizz Show. We will be live on air with Voice of the People USA radio.com every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Times could change depending on guests, but I want to take a minute to personally thank every single one of you that have listened to my show. You guys are an amazing group of people, and you have helped me get to where I am now. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I thank God above all for the opportunity he has put in my lap, and I'm going to run with it, and I'm so happy to see you guys running with it with me. You guys are amazing, and God bless you all, and have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week. Have an amazing week, everybody.